Okay. We have all these nice people here tonight. I'd like to welcome everybody here. I would like to ask Harper Fremont to come up, and she's going to lead us in the flag salute. Everybody stand, please. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Did a great job. Okay. The agenda. Any additions or deletions of the agenda? No. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Do we have any public comment? Public comment? Awesome. Now we would like to do the GHS winter sports. You want to do that before the cultivated time? Wait, lined up here. Okay, we'll do the recognize the GHS winter sports. Scott's usually here to kind of run this, so
Call in the coach.
call in let's call Mr. Anderson up to set this up and call up who's here.
Yeah, so we'd like to recognize all of our winter. I don't know how Scott runs. So
Where's the coaches at?
Yeah, once we're start. Program.
They need to come up across here, or they stood over there last time. It doesn't matter.
Sorry,
They want to go
That's okay.
line side there.
Good.
All right. So we're just here tonight to kind of, thank the board for all of your guys' support this season. It was awesome to see almost all of you, I think, in the stands supporting our girls basketball program this year. We had a pretty successful year. Their record was 18-7 on the year. It's been quite a few years since the girls have had a record over 15 wins, so that was a pretty big accomplishment for them. We had 4 girls that made the all-league team and or all-league like CBAC team, and these are the 4. So Jenna Garza made second team all-league, Mia Lopez second team all-league, Angel Torres second team all-league, and Layla Rodriguez was first team all-league. So give a round of applause. And not only do they do a fantastic job on the court for us, they also kind of lead the way in the classroom. They were awarded the outstanding award from the WIAA this year with having a GPA above a 3.5. So they really took care of business in the classroom as well. And yeah, so they just had a pretty successful season, and our senior here, Angel Torres, has recently committed to continue her basketball career at CDC. That's been just my second year as a head coach, and that's been one of the favorite things. My favorite things about coaching is just helping them kind of pursue their career after high school and making sure I've made those connections for them and getting them the resources to do so. So that's a huge accomplishment, and we're super proud. And this is our JV coach, Johnny Rodriguez. They also had a fantastic season as well. Thank you.
Boys basketball. On us.
You got it in? All right, so Coach Medina, boys head coach, and then Daniel Lopez just joined our staff this year. He was a great addition for us. I told him he was the missing piece to our success. He was coaching our D team this year. And the boys, pretty successful year. To start, we actually had a rough start. We started moving. So 0-4. The last time we had to start like that, it didn't go the way we wanted. So 0-4, we're kind of like, oh crap. But these guys turned around. We had a lot of youth this year. We graduated a ton of guys last year. I think we only brought back 3 guys. And Frankie was probably the only one that had like real significant minutes. So basically a whole new team. I said after that start, they just kept working, kept grinding, turned things around for us. I think our record 20, I think 20-7, 29. I think it's 29. We fell short of a league title, but postseason they made it click. We went up to Sela, were able to cut down their nets, win the district championship. Nice. And then from there, went over to RA Long, played the number 1 team, RPI wise in the state. Had a tough game there. Able to play well enough though in our season that gave us a guaranteed spot at the Sundome. And then these guys got to the Sundome and they played really well. It was exciting to watch. If you guys watch their games, especially that first game against Foster, overtime victory. It was a really fun game to be a part of. And then lost to Bremerton, 2-time state champs. Bounced back against Pullman out. And then had a crazy game against Tumwater. Heartbreaker, we ended up losing by 1, but we still managed to make it to the trophy round, took home 6th place. So anytime you could take home a trophy from the state tournament, it's always fun. You know, it's something to high about. Our road, we played the top 5 teams in the RPI, the state, in the postseason. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I told the boys to be able to play the top 5, still take home the trophy. Shoot, man, that's awesome. Like I said, especially the youth that we had, the inexperience. They didn't play like they were inexperienced down the stretch. We also had some individual success. Deontay Howard and Braden Santos, they're not here right now, but Deontay made 2nd team all league. Braden made 1st team all league. He actually finished like top 5 in the MVP voting in our league. So was really proud of him for that. And then Frankie Medina made 1st team all league, finished 2nd in the MVP voting, or 3rd in our league. And then was also selected by the Whitfield Coaches Association as the 2A state player of the year, which is pretty cool. He got to go over and play in the all-state game this year. And he made 1st team state tournament. If you watch that Foster game, he had an amazing performance. He led the tournament in scoring. He put up 105 points, which I believe is individually for scoring wise since 1998. I think that's the 3rd best individual performance scoring wise, point total. So something pretty cool, fun to witness. Yeah, got a bunch of guys coming back next year. Hopefully we continue the success. Thank the community. Thank you guys for your support. School board, seeing you guys at the games, always nice to see faces. And girls, congrats on your season. Wrestlers, it's always fun to see you guys. I know all the athletes put in a ton of work, coaches put in a ton of work, and it's always fun to see the success from all the sports programs. So, yeah, how's our season? Thank you guys.
Girls wrestling. Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name is Nina Perez. I'm the Grammy Girls head wrestling coach. I have my volunteer coach, Angel Tovar, today. I'm going to be able to do it without Angel, Brandon, and Steve. If you didn't know, it's actually 10 years ago since we actually had a state champ in the wrestling program. And thank you, Heidi, for my little anniversary gift because she actually was a state champ this year at the 115 weight class bracket. Exciting to see this all come together going through the program myself because they don't know this, but they're making history themselves as well. They get to participate in duels, which we never had the lineup to. You get to have a full lineup every duel. A lot of them actually participated in the Girls First Middle School League, and I'm so proud of all of them because all but one actually came through with the middle school program with me. And they know the expectations that we've had, and I'm so excited to see the future and the stepping stones that they're going to set for little girls, because I know little girls are going to look up to Lisbeth, Heidi, Sigana, Dottie, Ree, Alexia, and Congress, who's not here today, and they're going to want to be like them one day, the same way that it's like to be us. So thank you, girls, for a great season. And
Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, little family update. I was sharing, we had our baby boy born just a few days ago. So I kind of had to sneak out of the house to be here. He's helped be a very one day, but always appreciate you for being here. Our school schedules and spring sports, but you're here. So I did make some notes because I'm running on low sleep right now. Well, I just want to say, first off, I'm extremely happy with our overall season. This marks my 4th year as the head coach for the boys wrestling program. So I kind of feel like a senior myself growing with these guys. I had a large group of them who I coached in 6th grade. I can name them all right now, but a core group that I took a picture with that were with me since 6th grade were Joey Espindola, Michael, Flores, a couple of them that are here, Jacob Benitez, Kale Matheny, and Dutch Graff. And it's pretty awesome to see them go from little 6th graders who I used to beat up on to now I have to be careful when I wrestle them in the room. But overall, the season started off really strong. The boys program has definitely turned around in the last 4 years. We've been averaging around 55 to 60 athletes enrolling in wrestling, and this year we ended the season with 40. So for wrestling, that's kind of heard of for Grandview High School. So that's really cool that our numbers are reflecting growth, and now we're not just a small group of like, who are those guys? How come they're always sweaty? What do they do, right? But they're actually become a staple in our school, and we take pride. What made this team special was the mix of experience and energy. We started off the season with two returning state wrestlers and a group of district wrestlers, and then wrestlers with a lot of experience all the way to brand new wrestlers. We've gone to a point now where we have to have 2 practices because we don't fit in our room. And for safety purposes, we have to, kind of like the basketball team, right? The goal is to have a D team one day too. But for wrestling, you have multiple wrestlers per weight class. I think a really cool point to highlight is that the weight class 126 this year, we had 6 wrestlers. So we had 6 levels fighting for 1 or 2 spots for districts. These boys pushed each other. They created a culture that represents what our program's all about. My coaches aren't here today, but I just want to recognize them. We had a group of great coaches that worked really well together. And while I don't define a success surely mainly by wins, I'm really proud of what we did. We won league duels. We always have a full lineup now, and we competed in a 2A district called the CWAC here. And for wrestling, it's actually the hardest district to get out of to go to state. So when you make it to state, it says a lot. There's one of the coaches said 80% of the wrestlers from the CWAC end up placing at state. So that's a stat that's very high, unlike, other districts around the state that they make it to state. And, it's kind of like hey, you come to the district tournament, you automatically qualify. Here at our district, it's extremely tough. So the boys that made it to state or were a match or two matches away, hats off to them. But as a competitor, I always believe we can do more. And I say this with confidence. This year, we gave our athletes everything we had as coaches, and we prepared them for everything. I'm extremely proud of them. And, it's amazing that this sport doesn't only teach them how to wrestle, strength and resilience, but it also teaches them life lessons off the mat. And I really see that in a lot of them. This year, we were very close to getting an academic award, but we did walk away with 2 academic state champions. I know the girls had one too. So Kale Matini, actually we have one now. Round of applause for Kale Matini. 215-pound academic state champion. So if you were on the varsity team, went to districts, winning record, you qualified for that competition, and he was selected as the academic state champion. Same with Dutch Graff at 157 pounds. I know Michael Flores came close. He had a 3.9. He lost to somebody that had. But yeah, overall, we're really excited about our wrestlers returning next year. We're graduating a great bunch, but we have a lot of underclassmen here. Actually, we have some freshmen and sophomores here that are going to lead the pack. A junior here that's going to lead the pack next year, and I'm really excited about what they're going to bring to the program. They've been representing the team well, and we look forward to keeping the streak going of having at least one or more state placers every year. But we just want to thank the board and the school district for all the support we get. Whenever we want to go to a tournament, it's usually a thumbs up, go have fun, compete, and represent Grandview well. So thank you, everybody.
Anyone from swim? All right. Well, I'm proud of our swimmers as well. It takes a lot of swimming against yourself. A lot of endurance.
It's kind of nice to have a meeting where it's a lot more interactive and a lot fun than the most of the ones we have. Any of them, but it's nice. I'm glad we're able to come down here and do that. The next thing we have is cultivating kindness, and Marissa, she's leading the way for us tonight.
So, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. So, I want to share a little bit of what the Cultivating Kindness Award is. So, this award aims to recognize GSD staff members that make an impact in our school district through exceptional service. So, in our community, students, family members, colleagues, and community members all have the opportunity to nominate an individual and share why they believe that they deserve recognition. So, for the month of March, we have 3 amazing staff members who we would like to honor tonight. To begin, I would like to share the name of the nominator, the person that they nominated, and their submission. So their reason why they nominated this person. We actually have, I believe, one person that was nominated that joined us here tonight. So the first nominator was a GHS student. Their name is Angela Gomez, and she nominated Mr. Chad Bunker, who is a GHS Social Studies, History, and AVID teacher. So Mr. Bunker, if you could join me up. And I'll share Angela's submission here shortly. So, this is what Angela had to say about you. So, Mr. Bunker was my teacher freshman year, and he made a big difference in my experience at school. At the time, I was struggling a lot and even failing some of my classes. He helped me realize how important school and my grades really are. He also pushed me to talk to other teachers and ask for help, which was very hard for me because I was pretty shy. I'm really grateful for everything he did for me. I know a lot of my classmates feel the same way. He's a great teacher and overall just an awesome person. So congratulations, Mr. Bunker. If Goody from Bedla with Farmers Insurance, and at the very end, we'll take a picture over by the kitchen.
All right.
All right, thank you. Congratulations. Okay, so we have two more, and I don't believe that they were able to join us tonight. The next nominator was Ana Madrigal. She's a parent, and she nominated Allison Kleinow, who's a paraprofessional at Harriet Thompson. So this is what Ana had to say about Allison. I would like to nominate Allison because for the many years that I've known her, she has always been friendly and welcoming. I can always count on seeing her smile and positive energy in the school drop-off. I remember her working there when my other child was in elementary school, and he is now 23 years old. That really shows her commitment and her dedication to GSD. I truly appreciate her passion for what she does and the kindness she shows to students and families every day. So Allison wasn't able to join us today, but we'll be sure to share the plaque certificate with her tomorrow and also snag a photo. And the final winner was Mary Alvarado. She works in the transportation department as the router and dispatcher. She was nominated by her colleague Araceli Ledesma. And so this is what Araceli had to say about her. Mary is a very kind and attentive person with parents, students, and bus drivers. I always feel like I can turn to her whenever I need support. She creates such a welcoming environment, and that makes it easy to ask her questions and seek guidance. She's a vital part of our school community. Thank you, Mary, for doing an excellent job. So we'll also be sure to get Mary her certificate, and we'll share a photo so you guys can take a look. Again, congratulations to everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. Bunker. And Perla and Chad, when you guys have a moment at the very end, we'll snag a photo in the back. Congratulations again.
And you can probably grab that photo right now because I hate to say it, but we're going to have to move into an executive session. So not that I'm trying to get rid of any of you, you just don't get to participate in it. So I'm sorry. Thank you so much for coming. I'm glad you guys could be here and be recognized. The highlight of our meeting. Okay, so we're back in session now, so we'll move on to consent agenda. Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Oh, and I forgot to say that Mr. Stegman. Yeah. Will not vote on this. All in favor again?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, new business. Set date and time for training sessions. What dates did we have set up for this?
The only date I saw was the
I know we're doing the budget session before the next meeting. Is everybody still good with that? We're
Yes.
gonna do that on the
On the
5
14th.
o'clock, the next one? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve that one?
I thought we approved it at the last.
Did we vote on it? Oh,
Yes.
I thought it wasn't on the, I thought that's just something we brought up.
I'm aware, like, we approved it last.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah.
So do we want to set another one? I think everybody was gonna look at their schedules. Brad, when did you want to do another one?
We bounce it
Thinking
into
maybe
May.
just a couple of them you were thinking?
Yeah, should we bounce it towards the end of May? Does
Yeah, we can do the second, meeting in May.
that work for the board?
26.
For 26. We want to tentatively set that for now, and then you guys want to do it before the meeting again, do the an hour before?
Yeah, that's the day after Memorial Day. I mean, just so we all are aware.
We should be back in the groove, back at work,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I'm good.
unless somebody goes on a 4-day binge. So do I have a motion for that?
Make a motion, we set a study session, budget study session for 5 o'clock, May 26th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
May 26th.
Yeah.
Next, we're gonna move on to the community service hours revision. Did everybody read that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Does it all make sense?
It does.
Anybody have any questions or comments on it?
I do. Looking at that, I do think it's important for us to revisit the long-term request about the need for community hours to see how it aligns with our strategic plan and the pathway options. But also looking in the graduation plan, I'm wondering if the district could take a look at the policy to ensure it aligns with the most current special education needs and graduation pathways for students, because it seems like the language may be very still emphasized on the assessment requirements being met.
It's been noted. Okay, any more comments or questions on that? Not, I'll call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the GHS community service hours revision.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move on to the, if I'm following, I think correctly. We're gonna do first reading of, policy 2320 and 2320P, which is field trips, excursions, and outdoor education. This is just the first reading. So, we'll come back and visit that, but be prepared to have any comments or questions on that, unless you have some now.
I like the one thing in there where the in-state stuff superintendent can approve and it doesn't even need to come before us. I like that.
Does this essentially take the sentences that are at the top of the form and put those into policy?
Yes,
The 3 weeks.
more or less.
Mhm.
Just a couple questions. There was a statement on here that each field trip must be integrated with curriculum and coordinated with classroom activities, which enhance usefulness, etc. Looking at that, what would that mean for when we used to like incentivize attendance and taking students with to Silverwood and such? Would that still be an option for a field trip experience? The language.
Some of those are just like team building activities. So it's a fifth grade that does it.
I thought it was middle
Fifth grade,
school.
I think eighth grade sometimes does it for the middle school for
Okay.
Silverwood.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure we don't exclude things like that that may engage our students.
Yeah.
And then just one other minor thing, and it's probably just, minor, but anyways, it's page 4. Well, maybe it's not page 4, my apologies. Oh yeah, page 4. It says the staff member should attend the board meeting to answer any questions the board may have. Would we be able to say staff member and or designated like representative just in case they're not able to come? We still have that ability for them to have somebody represented. Page 4, bullet C.
Gotcha. Staff member or visiting.
Just gives a little more flexibility if they're not able to make it. But other than that, I think it looks great.
Mhm.
Anyway, that'll come up at the next meeting for us to approve. Okay, we'll move on to superintendent's update.
All right, board, thanks for being here and thanks for audience members. So here's some news from events the last couple of weeks. Mariachi and Gista and the GHS band both are academic state champs for GPA. Mariachi band has 3.41 GPA. High school band has 3.51 GPA. The middle school dominated the Mid Valley math competition. So 6th grade got first place overall. 8th grade got first place overall in the middle school. Our SAC leads to present at the Washington Activities Coordinator Association Annual Conference in Kennewick. We gotta go down there and present. And anytime you get students present at an event where there's a bunch of adults, the room is packed. People were standing around the back and they did a great job. A lot of good questions that they answered, and Elise and I just kind of stood off the side and let them do their thing. And as you know, it's a pretty gregarious group. And TK kindergarten registration is open. We're excited about that. And then GMS and the group of women to the Young Women's Leadership Summit on 13th, very tech. And I saw some pictures online of some person nervous about that. We have parent teacher conference coming up 26th and 27th, 30th through the 3rd, we're on spring break. The 15th, the dual language parent info night. We're starting a better meeting. April 24th, we have an SAC meeting at the high school library if you're interested in attending. And then the 19th is the Wassa South Central Regional Words Banquets, 6 to 8 Yakima. So if any of you want to attend, let me know and I'll get you a table.
Where's it at? This-
It'll be at the Hilton Garden.
That's the one that was, the apathy last year, right? Yeah.
And then, Jose and Derek and his team have been doing some work to kind of to codify some of the work they're doing around high school graduation programs and stuff. So Jose, you want to take a minute to share what
Sure.
you've been doing?
So we're handing down the written plan. So about 2 weeks ago, I met with Derek and his team at the high school. Invited counselors, invited our graduation or our student services coordinator, all the counselors. And so we had a conversation just around the dip in the graduation from last year to this year. As you can see in the opening there, we took an 8% dip from 92.6% in 2023-24 to 84.4%. So I wanted to meet with Derek and his team and just kind of figure out kind of what caused it, what can we do, right? We're not going to admire the problem, but we're going to develop a plan moving forward. And so this is our best thinking based on the meeting notes and the conversation we had with Derek and the high school team. So we have 3 very immediate steps that we want to take. And the first one is to start with the students that we have now at the high school. Based on the numbers that I heard, we have about 54 students who are seniors who are off track right now, and we want to shrink that number. And by what we want to do is we want to have some targeted student monitoring and mentorship right now. So we're not going to wait 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road. So we're going to identify those students who have 1 or 2 credits who are behind and assign staff mentors within the next couple of weeks. And that's something that Derek and his team are doing. They're going to conduct a bi-weekly graduation progress monitoring meeting with all the key stakeholders to start monitoring from now till June so that we don't have any students slip through the cracks. So they're going to be very intentional. They have their data, they have their, and you'll see in here, kind of an all hands on deck approach to address this situation at the high school. What they'll be looking at is credit attainment, student engagement supports. And again, we want to reduce that number of 54 to less than 10. Obviously, we want that number to be 0, but we had to put a number there to be realistic. So that's kind of the first immediate step is kind of stop the bleed, if you will. We know we have 54 kids who are off track. Let's get most of those on track and identify them. So they have all the data and the resources to do that. The other thing Derek and his leadership team have done is they've expanded credit opportunities for students. Rather than limit students, we're trying to remove all barriers away from students to graduate. One of them is continue to do credit recovery options in person, online, after school. Extend learning hours through their APEX system, which is an online way that students can take a course, take a quiz, and then have a test that's proctored. And so we've extended those hours till 6:30 p.m. daily so that students, again, have more opportunities than not to get those credits. The other thing that they're going to do is counselors monitor and ensure participation in some of these programs. We also want to continue with our tutoring, after school tutoring, make sure that kids are coming to tutoring, going out and actively recruiting students, not just waiting for them to come to us, especially those seniors who need some additional time and support. They're going to be coming and getting that. See what else here. Strength advisory periods. So one of the things that they're going to go back and make sure that during advisory, that the advisory teacher is actually working and connecting with students, doing grade checks. How are you doing? All of those things. And so Derek's commitment is that they're going to tighten that piece up. Let's see. Attendance and engagement, of course, is another one. Students can't learn and get their credits if they're not at school. So we want to continue to support our attendance initiative. Implement a weekly attendance monitoring for all students who are off track. We do that already. Derek meets with Lorena every week and his team to meet and to look at attendance. The kids come up to discussion and then they respond. They're also going to do more targeted outreach, calling parents, students, home visits, family meetings, just different ways to get families and students engaged in the school. You guys already approved the one that we have here. Develop a partnership with community services, 4 hours to be completed. The question was whether they're going to do 40 or 50 hours, but that's been answered tonight. So thank you for that. But that did come up with one of our counselors. They wanted some clarity on that. And then is there a list that we can create so that students know where to go for community service hours? Because sometimes they're a little lost as to where to go. So if we can do something like that, do some outreach and some partnerships so that we can give kids a list. So you can go here and this business, this organization, this individual will give you some community service hours.
So one thing that's coming up, April 25th,
Yes.
is the Rotary Community Day of Service. So
Yep.
that would be a great opportunity
Yeah.
for kids to get 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Derek's been pushing that to staff and
Okay, good.
so the other thing that we looked at was we looked at the data, we looked at systems, what can we do? We think that there's some, when we went over from Skyward to the Q system, we think that some student data wasn't transferred over, especially for students who took summer school and actually graduated. That wasn't reflected in the initial when we looked at the data. So we think there was about 10 to 11 students, and Derek, you can jump in here. I think it was 10 to 11 students that went to summer learning, got their credits, graduated, but didn't actually show up on our final numbers. So that's something that we're going to clean up, and that's something, that Derek's going to do here is what we call an August reset. So in the summer, when they come back from summer vacation, he met with one counselor, I think his registrar. So what we're saying now is we want to bring more people into the conversation. Counselors, summer administrator, the registrar, and so that we're getting all the information to the individuals that need to hear this information so that we're not missing any students. So basically tying up our systems there. Go ahead.
Some of the students that on the list that didn't successful in graduation, those students, they completed the summer. And so we're like, why are they on this list? They should have, so they may show up in a 5-year graduation, but they should have, by knowledge, they should have been counted last year, as long as they finished their report. And so those students, if we can correct that, they'll so it's a good thing in that they were successful.
Reflected in. Yeah. So I won't read all of this to you, but just you can just see that we do have a plan moving forward, and we're going to monitor from now till June. Come August, we'll look at the numbers again, and then when we call it a cleanup data time. So when OSPI sends us the raw data, that Eric will have more individuals kind of looking at the data, so that we don't miss any kids. Not that he did anything wrong, but we just want to tighten that piece up.
Another piece of information he found through his investigation that was counting proficiency at 80%, more counting proficiency at 60%. So some of them had a higher bar earning their credit than others. And so credit to Derek and his team for diving in and some of those.
Yeah. So basically, we just want to present a plan to the board tonight that we recognize the fact that we did dip 18 or 8 points, excuse me, and that we're doing something about it. We're responding to it now and in the future, and looking at systems and structures that we have in place to make sure that we're back on track with high grad rates. Yeah.
Of the 54 students that I see listed, not listed there, of 54 students that we point out here, how many of them are seniors this year?
Those are the
Those are all
seniors.
seniors,
Yeah. That's why we're responding to those students right now in the moment.
So
Students that are unsuccessful, or it's either they disappear, they go to Mexico, 20-day drops, and most of the students are in that number. If they were here at Grandview High School graduation, then if they're successful, or they finished in summertime, we had kids that came back. So, though that's what was, I guess, if they go to 20 days and they drop, we need to go get them. Team that goes out and we have and try to engage them. So sometimes it's hard because the students gonna come. So that was part of it. We noticed like, okay, let's see, when are they dropping? 10th grade year, the 12th grade year, and a lot of them, most of them would drop. It's the majority of their senior year. So jobs, just finding opportunities. They were here.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
check, or go ahead.
Of the 54 students that we have here, my question is it realistic that these students can attain and achieve all the requirements needed to graduate this school year?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so there's
That-
nobody
that number's
severely,
it's always a moving target because if you're behind it,
you have a,
Yeah.
okay,
That number should,
Mhm.
that number does not reflect students that dropped junior year,
Yeah,
sophomore year. So there's different codes that the state use. They drop them, it's like they leave, they say, hey, we're going back to Mexico. And we don't get questions on transfer. We just, maybe they went to school, maybe they didn't, maybe they went to California, and maybe they got. And so we're also looking to how we can we, continue to pursue them and call them, how the districts that they have the parents write a letter. They get it notarized, but, hey, we're going to Mexico, you're not. Sort of there, then they say, okay, that's confirmed. So then that doesn't count against the school. So it gets
Yeah. And one thing that we are doing, that's going to affect the board, is we are going to have a summer graduation. We want to have a summer graduation on July 17th. So those students who don't quite make it in June, that if they attend summer learning, that there will be a graduation for them. Because sometimes there are students that miss it by a credit or two, and they really want to walk across that stage. When they don't get to, they just kind of lose hope and like, well, I'm not going to do it.
it's hard.
Even
yeah.
though it's 1 or 2 credits, that's big. And so it won't be as big, obviously, as the outdoor one, but we want to have it in the auditorium. We obviously want the board members to be there. We'll be there, and they'll be in their regalia, and we'll do everything like we do a regular graduation. So we hope this is going to incentivize some of those students who quite didn't make it in June, so can still do it in July. So it's another care for them.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So really the spirit of this was just to present to you a written plan, know that, we're working diligently with the high school to address the dip, and we're going to increase it. And we have a good plan in place. And like I said, it's a plan. We can adjust it. We can add things to it, take things from it, but at least we have a plan moving forward.
I think it's good. Do we have kids that are having trouble getting their community service hours?
Well, you've got kind of the spectrum. So some kids have like 61 hours. They're all, and there's some that, yeah, they always knew they had 40. So most of them are well on their way. But yes, there is the segment. They either didn't get the signature at the end. And then in some cases, you mentioned like SPED students or students who are working, students who are caring for their brothers and sisters. It can be a hardship to do that. And then also the like significance of the hours, when there's so many of them, it kind of drops. So we make sure that the hours are valuable and that we have things that fit the spirit of the policy. Hey, let's do something that's actually really meaningful. And we'll come up with a menu as well. Because there's different things, like if you go and give blood, you get 10 hours. It's like, okay, that's for bringing canned food. So it's just kind of like, okay, do we want them city and painting with their peers and community? Or are there other little things that they could do to get service hours? And Sunnyside, requires 4 hours. So there's just like, okay, how can we balance it to where it's fitting? Yes, we do want. Okay, I'm gonna go buy 10 cans of food so that I can get.
I think something that would be nice to consider in the conversations as the policies revised or, revisited is, like you said, is it meaningful? Is it intentional? Because I understand the importance of civic duty and giving back to the community. But if it's another checkbox where, like you said, I'm just doing the cans of food and just so I can get this requirement met, is that really truly preparing our students, like we say, for civic engagement, for workforce, for, life after high school? And then the other thing I think about when we look at the policy as well is it equitable? I did see that we prorate for students who move into our community, but realistically, if you're moving here from, I don't know, Illinois or Chicago, do you really understand and know our community enough to know where to go to, and have those relationships, and be able to volunteer where it's still, again, meaningful for you. So I think about those types of things. And is it a barrier to some students or not? When we think about access to a diploma. So I hope we consider those things, or the team considers those things when they review the policy, so that we can make sure that it's still keeping in line with our strategic plan and still making sure that our students are prepared for the workforce.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Your report's over?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the high school team.
We're gonna move on to board responses from our monitoring. They can ridicule me in the president's role. Came back good. So we'll do all these together. I did notice on the board advisory committee, the one that put on there doesn't apply. It's actually the right one as far as now as I'm concerned, because we don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it isn't something we could do in the future, but we really don't do it. So really, it probably should have all been just not apply.
Yeah, I
At
don't
this
think
time.
there's anything to monitor right now
Yeah,
because we haven't put it in practice.
If we set a committee up or something like that, then yes, I could see that. But the more I read that, I was like, you know what? I think some of us, which I'm one of them, is just blessing it through and did not read it the way it should have been read. The agenda planning, there was one on there. And
I believe it was about more meetings for the policy, correct? Or about around policies?
yeah, and that was actually my comment. That we have all talked about having study sessions where we would start reviewing policies and sitting down and trying to update some of these, but we have not done it yet. So this was kind of my way to, maybe we need to do that. And this was going to be my thing from the board down the line here a little bit, is I'd like for all of us to spend, not the next meeting, but maybe the next meeting, look through some of those policies if you get a chance, and let's see if we can all maybe pick one that we think could be reviewed, and let's try to schedule a study session this summer, because I know we're going to have one, and let's review some of these policies and maybe update some of them, and
Shall we take our director number and go to those policies? Or I'm director 3, who's it, or area 3, I'll go to the 3,000 policies and look through them.
I don't know if that's sharing the load correct. Or
But if you're 2, you go to the 2,000.
I know, but some have more policies than others, or anyway, but I did have a comment or a question on that too, the scheduling and monitoring of all policies. Because when we moved to the board governance policy, my understanding was the operational components of things were going to be left at the discretion of the district. Rob and his team, and then ultimately we would see like the end, results or the recommendations like we did with the travel. And my understanding is that we look at the, board governance policies, the ends, the limitations, and monitoring and update those. Am I misunderstanding
No,
on how
I
it's
think you're
changed?
correct with that, but I would think, and maybe I'm wrong on this, that he brings those to us and we still approve them,
Mhm.
even though he owns them.
Yes.
But I think we need to look at some of them to direct Rob that maybe he needs to look into some of these, that maybe they need to get updated or checked out.
Mm.
Is more what I was looking at, are some of these, and maybe you look at one that's an older one that, hasn't been updated, because they have dates on them when the last time they were
Yep.
updated. Maybe we pick some and we talk about them and say, hey, what do you think about asking Rob to look into this policy? Because I think that's our job. Is to-
I mean,
don't think
ultimately,
he
we're
has
still
time to-
approving and everything, yes.
Yeah, and then if we tell him, hey, you need to maybe look at updating this, then Rob could come and give us a recommendation, say, you know what, I fixed a few things, or you know what, it really is aligned with what we want, and we'll say, okay, yes or no.
Hmm.
That's kind of what my
Gotcha.
thought. I don't think Rob has time to look through every policy that's in there. Anyway, or we could do it with the policies that we own and review them, because they are something we look at each time, but is there some that we really need to dive into a little more than what we do? We gotta do something during these study sessions, if we're gonna have them. Anyway, that was my thought on that.
Okay.
But other than that, what do you guys want to do with, views?
I make a motion to accept all three of them.
I have a comment on that. Should we take the board advisory one and change that to,
Does not apply or
does not apply it? Instead of just saying it's,
Okay,
that's just my feeling.
when I read through it, I
Yeah,
did
I
select
did
that
too. As soon
and
as I read it, I was reading it right now, thinking, you know what, you're exactly right.
I'll change my motion. I make a motion, we approve GP5 and GP7 as they are, and change GP6 to does not apply.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So back to going through the policies. If we're gonna go through policies and bring ones to the group that we think should get looked at, are we just all gonna look at all of the 1,000 through 5,000 series?
don't think we should do that.
Whatever the group wants to do.
I just want clarification.
Yep, no, no, I'm with you. I don't know how to separate, I didn't want us all to look through all of them, but however you want to split it up, or just pick what you want to pick through and we'll come up with what we got.
Are we doing this independently or are we doing this during the study
I
session?
think
Because I
we
heard
would do
two
it
things.
independently to bring the ones up that we think we want to talk about and then pick those to talk. That way we would weed some out, not be trying to look at all of them. One of them that I'm going to bring up, I might as well just bring it up now, is the cell phone. I would like to get that looked at and at least go through it a little bit in my mind. But why don't we just see if we can, I'll come back with one suggestion. How does that work? We each come up with one suggestion and then we can pick from that and pick 2 or 3 of them and they can become part of our deal.
Or could we tackle maybe one subject area at a time? Like maybe this time we focus on Board of Education and we break that up. And then the next time we look at instruction, the 2000s, and we break that up, just making it so that we're a little intentional about how we're reviewing them and not missing anything. I mean,
Whatever the board wants to do.
it might take a little bit of time, but I mean, then we're looking at, recommendations on this.
Whatever the board wants to do. I don't run that, it's run the
I've
meeting.
already made my recommendation.
What do the other 2 think?
I, for our initial go through, we go with what
check is suggested, that we get us kind of going, we can see what it looks like, and then after that, we can get the intention. I think that seems like
What's your thought, Trey?
That sounds good to me. Just kind of go through and pick something out and kind of work from there.
And maybe we do this, see what you guys think of this, maybe in that study session, we discuss how we want to review policies going forward. And we come to a mutual agreement on how we want to do that going forward, since we have not really done that in the past.
Okay.
Let's start out with some suggestions we had, if you guys agree with that. And then at that meeting, I'll make sure we put some time in for discussing how we want to proceed in the future on this. And I think Heather's thing is right going forward is we can dive down, hey, right now we see a need for this one. And let's jump into that, and we can schedule another study session at any time and try to do that. So.
Right.
Looking at this, so we have up to the 6,000 policies. We obviously don't have a 6th representative for the board. Do we want to tack that on to the 4s or the 5s?
I mean, we could start with the first 5 and each pick one out of that,
Okay.
go through it, and then make our plan as we go through those. It's a point to start, and we may
Sure.
change the process getting going. But if we don't draw a line in the sand and say, this is what we're gonna do to start, we're never gonna get started.
Right.
The other thing I would like to do at the next meeting is, did I say the next meeting or the next one after that? I think it was the next one after that. When we do bring this back in 2 meetings, I would like us to be prepared to set a date to either do one in an evening or on the weekend or whatever works for you guys and it's going to be 3 or 4 hours. So just kind of plan on that
Sure.
and we'll do something.
Okay.
In 2 meetings, have a date.
Yeah, just have some that are open. You can kind of look at what's available. That way, when we start talking, you can say, yeah, that works for me or not. You're not caught off guard like, oh, what's that? We're gonna
Next
do 2,
meeting.
those are at 5 to 6
Yeah.
beforehand. This will be more of a study session, not a budget.
I see.
This will be more of us collaborating with ourselves. So we'll do it. A lot of times we've done it on the Tuesday that we don't have a meeting.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of taking your Tuesdays and we just do them at 5 or 6 and go till 8 and call it good.
And our study session is actually the next meeting on the 14th, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Then another one in May, then we skip one. and-
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Where am I? Got through the board assessment. Board assessment. Wine colors, you did so well again, kind of getting good at this. And then we're gonna come down. Any questions on the enrollment? Oh, wait a minute, from the board, anything from the board? I got to set in, Mr. Parrish asked me to set in on the interviews for the new football coach. If you guys ever did or ever want to do that, I'm sure you could let Scott or let whatever else they do know about it, but it was very interesting. I got to meet some really neat people, and I think they hired a really good person. Looking forward to seeing him out there. That was pretty cool to see. I'm also was part of the trophy case committee, and I believe that's getting close to getting sent to you, where it will come to the board and actually become a policy.
Okay.
They're working on a couple more things on that. We brought up at the last meeting that is getting refined. But anyway, those are a couple things I did over the last week.
One thing that I did forget is April 11th, Lupe has coordinated an active shooter drill. They're actually gonna have students in costume with makeup, fake injuries on campus at the high school that day, Saturday morning. So there'll be an actual classroom, and I think there's gonna be 70 or 80 emergency responders on site as part of this drill. It's a pretty big event, so looking for about 150 student volunteers, dozen or so adults that are gonna be there. So they're the teachers in the classrooms. This is it's kind of the precursor to the reunification drill that we did before.
Mhm.
This is what would happen before the reunification. So, if you want to be part of that, either as an observer, or if you want to have a broken leg or internal injury, we'd love to have you help out. That's April 17th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
April 17th or 11th?
17th?
April 11th.
11th.
Okay.
Anything else from the board?
I was on the football coach interview team also. Yeah, I really liked the guy that we ended up hiring, so I enjoyed being involved in that process.
Anything on the FYI enrollment comparison, cash flow, February budget?
Thank you for the update.
There is the audit thing on Friday. If if you are going to attend that, you need to let, Rob and Sabrina know that. I will be attending it, but if you have more than 2 of us, we need to let them know, so. If you plan on attending, no matter what, just let them know. Letting you know. Anything else? Brad, nothing? We went a whole meeting with no update from Brad? How's that possible?
Dan being quiet. Keeping to myself.
Over there, staying out of the way. Good night. Hey, we're gonna adjourn the meeting. Perfect.
There's nice when you speak all, there's something.
I'll take my phone.